Hello from the Philippines once again. Today's video is all about comparing three sets of foils, and these are the U foils from the previous outings but modified, as I will explain, a new set of forward raked foils, and our benchmark conventional foils. And as a bonus, I've fitted the centreboard again as a check on behaviour of the foils with and without the centreboard in position. So first off are the U foils with the centreboard. Discussions with others over the past week have made me want to check again whether fitting the centreboard to combat the lateral forces unloads the foils to give more lift with less frequent fall downs caused by ventilation on the foils. The boat certainly tracks better and appears smoother through the water, but now I have too much lateral resistance and the boat is heeling considerably more. It is also a lot slower at displacement speeds, as you'd expect with an extra appendage in the water. We've been moved to a different part of the lake now because of fishing activities. The new location is great for the gas boats as they have a nice long run to both the left and right of the base. The best wind is right on the other side of the lake. As a result, you're going to have to put up with some videos at maximum zoom and a corresponding lack of smoothness when tracking the boat. Sorry about this, but can't be helped. These U-foils have been modified since the past outing 2 weeks ago, and the outboard section of the foil is now 5 degrees more vertical, reducing its lift when the boat is flat, whilst the inner part of the foil is correspondingly 5 degrees flatter. The idea behind this design is that if the boat heels, the lift area actually reduces as the inner section of the foil becomes closer to vertical. This seems to work, but the downside is that I have an extra intersection between foil and water surface, and you can see a considerable amount of spray coming up from the inner tip of the foil, which has to be bad news. I like the concept, but need to think about the extra resistance from the inner tip. Next, the U-foils without the centreboard. The boat is always more lively without the centreboard, but it has to be said that the centreboard is probably too large for this type of combination, and was not designed to be used with foils anyway, but rather for use in light winds only when foils provided no benefit. Maybe a centreboard of approximately 50% of the current area would be worth experimenting. That's one more to add to the list. The second set of foils is new. There are three parts to the foil. First off, a foil section at 40 degrees to the horizontal. The second inner part is raked forward and is at 45 degrees to the horizontal. The idea behind these foils is that the first section is flatter to get more lift in lighter airs. The second section is steeper, thus reducing a sudden reduction of foil area in the water as speed increases. The forward rake of this section is so that as the boat rises, the centre of lateral effort of the foil moves forward, improving directional stability at the higher speeds. The winglets are there to give improved positive reaction to the steering. There is a counter-argument against winglets, and that is that it can be good to let the boat skid sideways, as this can depower the boat and help prevent heeling. We're after the happy medium here, and we still have a lot of trials to undergo. The boat is certainly smooth going through the water with these foils, and had good directional stability. Perhaps I just need to reduce the area by about 10%, but I'm just guessing as usual. I like to end my trials by reverting back to our standard V-foils, and you see these on the boat now. It is apparent to me that the tendency to fall off the foils when at speed is directly related to the height of the centre of effort of the rig. When I have the smaller rig up, as you're going to see later on, the boat falls off the foils far less frequently. Personally, I'm convinced that we need more than one set of foils to cater for all wind strengths, but I do believe that the concept of fixed foils can work on a boat this size. And the added complexity of trying to adjust the foils while sailing will provide little benefit, especially when you consider the response times required when a gust hits the boat. Having said that, later this year I might just try to prove myself wrong. These longer runs on the foils are most satisfying, but also most confusing, since it's difficult to work out when and why the boat sometimes falls off the foils. The capsize coming up is interesting, as there really was no warning that it was about to happen. I capsized the boat twice on Sunday, doubling the number of capsizes since I launched it back in October last year. It just shows you how much concentration is needed in gusty conditions to keep the boat flat, and play the sails and not get distracted by your tame cameraman. Our lake is about 4 feet deep, so the boat does not turtle with the A or B rig up, but even if it did, the main hull remains above water, so we do not have any problems with the electrics getting wet in the event of a capsize. I put the sea rig up in marginal conditions and should have swapped over about 30 minutes earlier when the wind was stronger, but nonetheless you can see that once I get the boat up out of the water, it will foil with relatively small sail area, and more importantly, it foils for longer with a reduced tendency to dive off the foils. I'm thinking that maybe I need a rig in between my current and B and C rigs, but I'm trying to keep rigs down to just to 3 to keep down costs. For the next session, I hope to have the forward rake foils repaired and finished. I'm also going to cut down the inner part of the U-foils to see what that does to the boat's ride height. Cutting is a lot easier than constructing from scratch. That's all for now.